So we have created our first custom data type using enums, and we see how much power that has. It's great to get all the power of Swift's type checking and auto-completion, and it's really easy to set up these enums. But there comes a time when we actually want more power than enums can provide us. Let's just say we want to create a custom type that groups together many other variables under one roof. And this is common when we want to create like a record in a database. We might have multiple columns, but each row is really one entity that we want to treat as an atomic block sometimes. How do we do this? Well, the answer is structs. Okay, struct stands for structure, and it's a way for us to create custom types that can group together multiple values of different types. So let's say we wanted to write some code at a hospital. Okay, this code is going to do something with patient records. Maybe it stores them, maybe it books appointments for them. So we know that we want to create a custom type of patient. And if we keep it simple, we know a patient has a name, an age, and say an address, just to be really basic. Now to build a struct that does this, first you type in struct, then you type in the custom type name, and then you just add in all the variables that you want to group together. So we want to have a name, type string, age, type int, address of type string. And just like that, we have our first struct. Okay. All those three variables are now grouped together as a single entity. And we can then create variables of that entity. So what does that look like? Well, just say var p equals, and then the name of the type, patient. And then we call a method that's the same name as the type. And what this does is it will then call the initializer for that type. So the idea is, in the struct, if we just list variable names like this, and we don't pass it an initializer of our own, Swift will actually create a a default initializer for us. And this default initializer actually expects some values. So that's why we have this error here. This error says missing argument in parameter name in call. You see, using autocomplete, we see that Swift's actually expecting us to fill in 3 different arguments. And funny enough, they correspond to the fields in our struct. So that means we were basically being asked to pass in the initial values for all the fields in our struct. Okay, we can do that. That seems reasonable. And just like that, we're done. So this actually creates a structure and then stores it in variable p. Now, if you wanted to use and take a peek inside that variable p, all you have to do is use dot, and then you can reference any of those fields. And these fields we call properties, okay? So if you print the address, you can print the age, you can print the name. And all those behave the way we expect. And so hopefully you can see the power that comes with this. If any of you work with databases, this should come very naturally. The whole idea is that then you could have hundreds, thousands of these patient objects stored in a database, or you could have them eventually loaded up into an array. And each of them will have these different fields or members. And so it's a way for you to really group the data in a very logical kind of way. Okay?